Hello, this is Darren.
And this is Paige.
And this is
Where's the Lemonade?
Where we talk about what happens when life throws you lemons.
Make some lemonade?
Maybe. Some weeks it's lemon squares.
Yeah, some weeks it's just lemons.
Yeah. On today's episode,
how can we be happy when our spouse is doing something fun without us?
Stop having fun without me. As Paige mentioned in the beginning, today's episode's about having fun without your spouse. And, well, just stop having fun without me. That's all I'm going to say.
I can't.
Yeah, that is true. So the reason this came up today is because Paige had a girls' trip last week.
I did. Now, this is a girls' trip that has been happening for, I think, 18 years.
18 years.
So when you married me, or maybe even longer than that. But anyway, when you married me, I told you that there is a girls' trip that happens once a year. And you were like, yeah, no problem. It's all
I
good.
thought she was kidding.
You did not think I was kidding.
No, I thought.
You thought, no. Say what you really thought.
I really thought she's going to love me so much she won't care. She'll just not go. Because she'll want to be with me all the time.
That is exactly what you thought. And is that what happened?
No. She's like, I'm out of here. So
it was hard though. The first couple. I mean, we've talked about this in a podcast before.
Yes, we have.
The first couple of years, you were a little. What's the right word? You were a little miffed that I was going because I think
not miffed.
What were you? Tell me.
Sad
because
but not miffed.
So you wanted to be my everything.
Of course.
Okay.
And I don't have the money that your friends have. Where did we go? Oh, we went to the Caribbean. Oh, we went to Jamaica. Oh, we went here and there. And I did put my foot down 1 year.
You did. There was 1 year when we were talking about going to Cancun.
For spring break. 3 married women going to Cancun for spring break.
We didn't see what the problem was, but
your husbands all did.
I don't know. You certainly did.
I certainly did.
So we did not go to Cancun.
No, but you guys went somewhere else. I can't remember.
I think that was the year we went to Jamaica. Was that better?
Yeah, probably. That was a lot better.
Okay.
Cancun. Oh my goodness. I don't know what you guys were thinking. But our episode today is not on girls' trips. We've had a whole episode on that. It's how to be happy when your spouse is doing something fun without you.
And that can be challenging, right? Because especially if you're the person sitting at home with all the responsibilities, that can be, right? Like, okay, so, and you, like this last girls' trip, you had so much to do when I was gone.
Oh.
You did. And it was kind of good in a way for me because you got to see all the behind the scenes things.
There's a lot
that I do. Like I would have been doing all of those things that you had to do that week, but I wasn't here. So you had to do you were running around like crazy, plus working and still doing your schoolwork. And it was a very busy week. It
was a very busy week. And it would have been a busy week for you too, not a normal week. So it was like,
yeah,
compounded. We had summer camps and coordinating that with other moms that they're not texting me, they're texting you first. And then all of a sudden they're calling me.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm on a girls' trip. Can you call Darren?
Well, and I have conference calls I'm on and
there was
all these other coordination of, our kids want to be room together at this camp. And,
and then
I'm like, holy cow.
There was 2 doctor's appointments you had to take kids to. Like, it was really an unusual week.
It was a very unusual week.
And
one doctor's appointment should have taken a half hour. It took 2.5 hours. Almost. Why? I don't,
So
crazy.
I did feel bad, but at the same time, I felt like if I was half in trying to half help you, that almost would have complicated.
It would have made it worse.
Yeah, so I totally just stepped away, and you handled it all beautifully, and I knew you would.
And I even did 2 loads of laundry.
I'm so proud.
It was towels. I'm proud of myself.
You
can't ruin towels because we don't have any red towels in the house.
That is true. Thank you. You did a great job. Good job. Okay, so well,
there's 2 things out of that I think is interesting. One is that you stepped away and you trusted me enough to let me handle everything.
Yes. Yeah, I wasn't
Right.
like calling you up going, well, how did you do on this? I just was like, hey, did everything work out? And if you said yes, then I walked away. And you know what I mean? And just had to trust that everything was good.
Well, and that was good, because if you were in the middle of that too, it would have made it so much more complicated.
Yeah.
And so you trust me. And then the other thing is that I needed to trust that you were having fun, and that was okay.
Yes. Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. When we talked about this already a little bit, when we first got married and I was going on my girls' trips, it was kind of miserable for me because I knew that you weren't excited for me to go. And so I felt guilty and weird and kind of mad at you.
The first year, it was weird for me.
Mm-hmm.
It was. The second year, I wanted to go with you.
It's not a couples trip.
I know, but you were going and having fun without me. And I was like, hey, I want to go have fun too.
Well, and I do love that you like to be with me and we have so much fun together. But yes, these are girls' trips and it wasn't a couples trip. But no. So the first couple of years were kind of weird, but we figured it out. So how did you get to the next level of being okay with it and being happy for me?
Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. How, because now I'm at the point now where I'm so happy for you when you go and experience something new that I haven't maybe experienced, or maybe I have experienced, doesn't matter, but it's
Right.
new to you, and the excitement that you have and doing it. Like, you went hot air balloon riding this time.
It was so fun.
I was scared the living daylights out of me, so I have no desire to go whatsoever. And I could have said, well, why are you having fun without? No, I was like, that's cool. Tell me about it. Was it, when you almost dropped your phone? That was fun. So I think I just changed my attitude, but it took me some time to get to that point. And there's some steps we'll talk about that. We've read a couple articles about this.
Okay. And it also goes the other way. I mean, before COVID, you traveled all the time and you would go out to dinner with your coworkers and, you're eating at fancy restaurants and I'm sitting at home going, well, I'm having top ramen tonight.
It's because I wasn't here to cook for you.
Exactly. Exactly. You leave and the cooking leaves too. So I am the type of wife that I've never been bothered by that. I've never felt jealous. I have maybe wanted a steak just because I knew you were having a steak, but I've never felt like, oh, he's, doing all these fancy things without me. I've always just like, great, tell me about it. And when you're done with your dinners, I always say, oh, tell me everything. And
on the other side, I'm like, well, yeah, we went to a concert tonight, or I ate I was in Chicago. I went to the House of Blues, or no, it was the House of Blues in Chicago, and had dinner there and listened to some music, which you would really enjoy. And I was like, do I tell her about
yes.
that?
Oh, yeah. I want to hear all about it.
So, yeah, but those
Super
are
cool.
the sorts of things that go through your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. So we need to figure this out. That's what we're going to talk about today. How can we be happy for our spouses or partners when they're having fun? Maybe it's not with friends or work. Maybe it's a hobby that they have. Maybe they're spending hours every day or every week riding a bike or exercising or whatever it is. They have a hobby that is taking them away from you and that they enjoy.
So Paige found an article for us today on this subject. It was hard to find anything, right?
It really was. And even the article that I ended up finding wasn't exactly what I was looking for. So we kind of tweaked it to be more of what we were thinking of. But yeah, so the first thing it says in this article is to learn to trust and communicate with your partner. So it's our insecurities that keep us from being happy for our spouse when they go do something. That's really, if you get down to the origin of your feelings, it's the insecurity that they're having more fun with those friends than with me, or they're having more fun with that hobby than with me. That's our insecurities that keep us from being happy for them. And instead, we sit home and go,
or maybe they're having fun and I'm not.
Right. Yes.
Right. I'm just stuck here taking all these kids to doctor's appointments.
So it's resentment.
I guess that's resentment. Yeah.
Like they're off having fun and I'm not.
And I'm stuck here not having fun. I have to do all the work or whatever it may be. Now, there are some cases where a hobby consumes somebody and they start ignoring their spouse. That's a problem too.
That is a big problem. Right? And we have good friends that he rides his bike, 100 miles a day, or I don't know, something crazy. And he spends hours a day, doing that. And they are 100% good with that, both of them. She's good with him doing that. And I don't know, I've never talked to her about that, if it's something that she had to become okay with, but I think her personality is she was okay from day one. Like you do you, I'll do me. Catch you at the end of the day.
So that doesn't work in every marriage.
No, it does not. No, it absolutely does not. So
like for us, would that work if I had a hobby that took outside of work another 4 or 5 hours a day?
No, it wouldn't be okay. It wouldn't, because if you're spending 8 hours a day on work and then you spend 4 hours a day on this hobby, I would never see you. I think in their situation,
it's different.
He doesn't have an 8 to 5 job.
So it's different for each couple,
yes,
I guess is what we're trying to say.
Yeah, every situation's different.
That's why the trust and the communication has to go hand in hand.
Yes, because if you were out there riding a bike 3 hours a day and I was like, you know what, this is just too much. You've got to be able to communicate that without going, you can't do that. Right? As soon as you say that to someone.
Or working on a car in the garage, like rebuilding a car.
Yeah.
Or,
whatever the hobby may be. Or if it's going out with friends every single night.
That becomes a problem.
And you have to communicate and say, listen, I think you're spending too much time away from the family. I understand you really love doing X, Y, or Z. Let's come to a compromise so that you can still feel fulfilled with this thing that you're doing, but I still feel like you're including me in your life.
Right. And that brings up another interesting thing that'll probably feed into the next one, but that is sometimes we change our hobbies to match our spouses. Maybe it's something they're very interested in that, you can see how much fun they're having. You're sitting back going, well, I don't like that. Maybe you should change and maybe invest some time in that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that later. You're jumping ahead.
I'm sorry.
Stop it. Sorry. Stop it. So learn to trust. And what that means is, what do you think that means when you hear that? Like, do you trust me when I go on my girls' trip?
Yeah, now I do.
Well, let's talk about that, Darren.
Well,
now you do?
Well, no, when we were first married, you went on a girls' trip to where'd you go the first? Oh, you went to Arizona.
The first year we were married? I don't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Well, you guys went to a real fancy resort.
Yeah.
We've only been married for like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And I'm like, oh, we're having fun. Oh, yeah, boy. And I'm like, I've seen women on some of these girls' trips.
It wasn't Girls Gone Wild. It was just a girls' trip.
Oh, I understand, but... So I'm like, okay. So no, I had insecurities around that. Of course I did.
Right. So
I can admit that now.
I'm glad, because at that time you couldn't admit that.
Well, of course not. I don't want to seem weak.
Oh my goodness.
No, I'm so glad. I trust you, honey. I just don't trust all the other men in the world out there.
Yes, I'm quite the.
Oh, you are
the cat. Mm-hmm. Yes, a 50-something-year-old. I almost said my age. 50-something-year-old grandma.
This was 11 years ago.
I was a 40-something-year-old.
I'm pretty smoking hot.
Oh my gosh. I am so glad you think so, babe. I am. I'm glad you think so. But what were we talking about? I'm so distracted.
See, I can distract her really easily. This is awesome. No, it was insecurity, right? I had insecurity.
Oh, we were talking about
that.
trust. Yes, and you
trust,
said you trust me now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's true. In the beginning, I felt like you were just
I was trying my best
you
to
were
support
just
you.
yes, you were unbalanced with the whole thing. You didn't quite know how to handle it, and we were still both kind of raw from our previous marriages. So I can totally see how you felt that way. But now you're like, see ya, and you're great about it. I mean, it's not even is it even a thing for you anymore when I go?
If you guys go to really fun places, I'm like I have FOMO. Of course I do.
Oh, I have FOMO. I do have FOMO.
I know.
But yeah, so you've got to have trust in your spouse and that what they're doing, you trust what they're doing. Whether it's a hobby or they're with friends, whatever it is, you've got to be able to trust them. And if you don't, you've got to figure out how to gain that trust. Right?
Oh, well, that goes both ways.
Absolutely. Okay, so the next part that we want to talk about is...
Stop being a loner. Stop
yes.
being a loser. That's what the next
Stop
one is.
Stop being a loser?
Well, it is. I mean, make some friends and get some hobbies. That's what the lady said in the article. She's basically saying, stop just being a loser at home and woe is me.
She never says loser. We don't say loser.
No, all right, I did. I said loser.
Don't stop being okay, but no. Don't just sit there and go, well, gosh, they have these great hobbies and they have these great friends and I don't have any of that. Stop it.
Stop feeling sorry for yourself. AKA, stop being a loser. That's what she says.
She does not say that.
She does too. She says it in a nicer way. But no, I think this one's actually really important.
It is, because you have got to feel that, hey, that's okay. They're off doing their thing and I've got my thing. You've got to feel that you have your thing, that you're just not the person left behind, because then that can cause problems.
Well, and I would augment this by saying, find some hobbies that you can do together.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, our daughter has shown this, right?
Yes.
Rachel. Never in my wildest dreams would I ever consider Rachel going to a NASCAR race.
Oh, she's crazy for NASCAR.
And that's her husband raced, dirt tracks in California, total NASCAR fan. And now she is, because she just took that time and interest into one of his hobbies and it became part of her hobby. And that's something they can do together.
Well, and it was kind of, we've talked about this before, but if people don't remember, it was kind of an accidental interest, actually. So he would want to sit and watch NASCAR races on Saturdays or Sundays. And she wasn't interested in NASCAR racing, but she would sit next to him on the couch and read a book.
Jane Eyre.
She would read her books.
Yeah.
And as she, over time, she'd be reading her book, but then she'd keep looking up at the TV and hear things going on. And pretty soon she was just as interested, if not more now, than he. I mean, they're crazy about NASCAR. It's pretty funny.
NASCAR and football.
So, yes. So, of course, you can get hobbies of your own. But let's talk about that. Hobbies of your own without your spouse. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's important too.
It is very, very important. So find something that makes you happy without your spouse, because you do need that thing to help you feel good without them, especially if they are working or doing their hobby or whatever it is. You've got to have something so you're not sitting at home being resentful. You've got to have something that fulfills you and makes you happy.
Well, you see, you could take this to another extreme too. By, hey, I just don't want to be around my spouse, so I'm going to fill my life full of these hobbies. I've seen people do that too.
Of course, and we mentioned that in the first one, that if it's too much, if you're away from the family too much, if you're doing that too much, then that's a problem.
Mm-hmm. So I guess there's balance in all of this.
Yes, there's balance in all of this for sure. But so that you're not sitting around feeling sorry for yourself, that they're off with their hobby, you've got to find something that fulfills you.
Do you think this is why so many people, when they retire, have such a rough time at first?
A rough time with each other?
Yeah. Well, because, I mean, if someone's still working, the other one's retired, right? They're no longer, I mean, they have a lot of downtime now. If they don't have hobbies or anything like that, then they're like, well, what'd you do today? I mean, you talked to another human being.
Right.
I've been stuck at home with the dog.
Yeah.
Right? Or something like that. I wonder if this feeds into that as well. Okay, the next one is stop being selfish and be there for your spouse.
Wow, we're really being mean today.
We're
We're calling people losers and selfish. Wow.
selfish losers.
Sorry, people. We love you. But don't be selfish. Stop being selfish. No,
What does this mean? What
This
does this
is
mean?
really important. I mean, we basically talked about this all along, through this podcast. Stop being selfish, meaning stop going, wah, I just want you home, and I just want this, and I don't want you to go have fun.
If you do that, then I get to go do this.
Yes, I'm going to stick it to him, right? If he's going to go do that, well, then I'm going to go do that. Those are all selfish attitudes. Stop doing that. Don't do that. That's not healthy at all.
Well, all that does is cause resentment between you and your spouse. Right?
Yes. So this is important. Show interest, just like we talked about Rachel in the last one. Show interest in what your spouse is doing. I think that goes such a long ways.
We've seen that with some of our friends.
Yes.
Right? Where, hey, they've got a very strong, like our friend that cycles. Mm-hmm. She shows complete interest in his cycling hobby that he has.
Yeah.
And how was your ride today? Where'd you go? Types of things.
Right.
And so I can see that she is supporting him.
Absolutely. Being supportive. And I feel like that's how you are with my girls' trips now. You're very supportive.
Well, I try to be.
Right. We usually talk at the end of the day when I'm on a girls' trip and you ask me, what'd you do today? Tell me all about it. You're very interested in
And I try my best when you're on a girls' trip not to say, today was a really crappy day. I had to do all this stuff and this is what went wrong. And,
you know what? You actually never say that. And even though I knew
I felt like it this time.
I know this last week when you were telling me everything you were doing, and I'm like, and now so-and-so is going to call you to talk about rooming with our kids. And I was just like, oh my goodness, I know that he's so busy.
So I needed to probably not tell you everything that was going on.
No, it was okay. It was fine. But you never complained about it. You didn't complain. You just said, oh, this is what, this is really busy.
Because if you were to complain to me when I'm on a trip, right? I'm out there trying to have fun or something like that. Then I would just feel horrible.
Right. Yes.
Right?
You just feel guilty.
I'm feeling guilty, which
yes.
means I'm not having the fun that I had planned.
Right.
Because you wanted my attention.
Right.
I guess. I don't know.
And I feel like that is being selfish, right? You need to get out of yourself and say, you know what? This was a really hard day for me. And yes, my spouse was off having a great time, but I took care of everything and I want my spouse to be happy and have fun. And if I'm going to be away and spending time without you and spending money, isn't it a good thing for me to have fun rather than sit there and feel guilty? Like that doesn't even it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's an interesting what you just said. Is you're out there having fun and spending money. I'm at home.
Yes.
Slave driving, trying to keep the house all together.
Are we building up some resentment here?
No, I'm just saying. I can see. There's no resentment here. I can just see where people would be like, "That's what I mean." Aren't you considerate of the person at home?
Yeah.
So why would you tell me all the fun things you're having? You're just sticking it to me.
Well, you ask because you're being supportive.
Right. So yeah. I guess that's the mentality change that I had to have was I am happy that you're having so much fun.
You are, and you're so that way now. In fact, when we got to our hotel, when me and my friends got to our hotel, you had called ahead and ordered a little spread.
Well, I knew you guys would be traveling all day to get there. So
we did, and we got there, and there was Martinelli's and some dessert and some fruits and nuts and a little card, and that was so sweet and very supportive, and that was wonderful. And thank you for that.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
So you want me to be happy.
Yeah. Yeah, ultimately, and I think that's the major shift is I want you to be happy. Now, I'd be very sad if you were only happy when you were away from me.
Right, of course.
That's a whole nother problem in your relationship if that's the case.
Right.
And for you guys out there that are worried about that, don't be worried. Show love and show supporting when you're supporting your spouse on a girls trip, on doing these fun things, because it should be reciprocated in love and kindness back. Right. Maybe not in a guy's trip or that doesn't matter. You shouldn't be keeping score, but you're building that love and that relationship of trust with your spouse.
Well, and you are so good. Like when I come home, the house is clean. You had flowers waiting for me. I mean, it feels so good.
You should have seen how hard I was whipping the kids to clean the house.
Well, it felt so good to come home to just such a nice atmosphere, and everything was so positive. I didn't have to walk in and be like, oh, wow, the house is a disaster. Or do you know what I mean? Like it just felt so good to just come home and be like, oh, this is great. And everything just felt good and right. And
well, I think we have to realize, especially today with COVID and all that stuff, our home life and our work lives have kind of merged. So getting a break from work is important. And for you, most of your work is managing the household, which I learned a lot this last time because so much was going on.
Right.
And I was handling all of it. And I said, I forgot how much of the little things that you do every day get done that now I have to start worrying about for
right.
Just a week is all it was.
Now, one other thing I want to bring up is you have to be very careful about, I think you already kind of brought this, if your spouse is having fun without you and you're worried about that, are they only having fun without me? Guess what? Make sure that your spouse is not only having fun without you.
Ooh, I like that.
Make sure when your spouse gets home from some fun trip that you go, you know what? Next weekend, we're going to go have a really, make sure you're having fun with your spouse.
That should be the last bullet on our thing.
We don't want all the fun that you're having in your life to be without your spouse. That's dangerous. That's a slippery slope. Don't do that. Have fun.
You'll start separating.
Absolutely.
I only have fun when I'm away from my spouse.
Yes, and then you'll start being away more and more. So you have to make sure that your relationship is being taken care of at home and that you're having fun.
I like how you said that. It's the fun thing.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
You can be silly. We've done that. We've been silly. Our
Absolutely.
kids think we're silly.
We're silly. We're very silly. But yes, so when you come home from your girls' trip and you tell your boys' trip or whatever, and you come home and tell your spouse all about it, and then your next sentence should be, what are we going to do? Are we going to go out? Are we going to go?
Oh, no. I disagree.
Why?
Don't say, what are we going to do? That could come across as, well, I just had all this fun. Why? Do you have something planned for us to have fun? You should come and say, this next weekend, we're going to go do this.
Right, that's what I meant.
Okay, good.
Yes, the person that just had the fun should say, hey, now let's go do this, you and I.
Yeah, but don't come in and say, well, what do you want to do to have fun with me?
Gotcha.
That could come across wrong, is what I'm saying.
Yes. So have something planned or an idea in mind.
Have an idea in mind and say, hey, why don't we go to Top Golf?
Yeah.
Here's Top Golf commercial. So, if you want to pay us for this, that's fine, Top Golf. I'm just kidding. So that's an idea, right?
Yes.
Hey, let's go walk downtown. All the shops downtown and live music outside and eat outside, whatever it may be.
Right. But yes, don't lose out on the fun that you're having with your spouse, and don't start only having fun elsewhere.
Yeah.
Because that's not good.
Okay, our lemonade moment of the week is a real special one.
Our son Jacob is so romantic with his wife. Oh my goodness.
And this is our Valentine's Day, the week of Valentine's Day. We're not talking about Valentine's Day except for Lemonade Moment of the Week.
Because we've got Valentine's Day down after all these years.
Yes, we've just ignore it.
No, it's not about us. It's about having fun with the family.
It's about having fun with the family.
It's not about us. And so it's not an issue anymore. Okay, but back to Jacob.
Yeah. So Jacob, our hopeless romantic child, after years of piano lessons and cello lessons and singing, I mean, that's the lemonade part. There's a lot of years of our son sang and performed a romantic song for his wife.
It's so cute.
And it was wonderful. And you guys get to hear it here on the show today.
It is such a wonderful song. He did such a good job. And they were just going to have leftovers for Valentine's Day. And he went out and surprised her and got Arby's. Now you may be going, Arby's, that's gross. The reason, actually, I love Arby's, so it's not gross. But some people seem to think that Arby's is gross. I love Arby's. He went and got that because that was the first meal that they ate after they got married. They got married and it had been such a long morning and pictures and all of that. And then they went through the drive-through of Arby's on their way to, get ready for the reception. So he went and got Arby's for her and him.
What a romantic kid.
Oh, he's such a romantic.
So listen to this song. It was not, it's an old song, a Buddy Holly song.
Yep.
And Jacob performed all of the instruments and the vocals.
Just you know why you and I will by and by no true love way. Sometimes we'll sigh, sometimes we'll cry, and we'll know why. Just you and I, no true love way. Throughout the day, our true love way will bring us joys to share with those who really care. Sometimes we'll sigh, sometimes we'll cry, and we'll know why. Just you and I, no true love way. Throughout the day, our true love way will bring us joys to share with those who really care. Sometimes we'll sigh, sometimes we'll cry, and we'll know why. Just you and I, no true love way.
Thank you, Jacob, for our Lemonade Moment of the Week.
If you like today's episode,
Give us 5 stars on iTunes, Spotify, Google.
and head to Facebook and like us,
And check out our blog at where'sthelemonade.org.
where you can leave questions and comments.
But most of all,
Go out and make some lemonade.
You betcha, baby.